الله. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Let's assume that we are going to place the most beautiful nose in the face of a dog. Are going to be a good image or it's an ugly image? What do you think? Now, let's the opposite. We place the nose of a dog in the most beautiful face of a human. It's going to be nice, looks nice. Beautiful nose of dogs, very nice. You put it in the most beautiful, face of a human. Is it not going to look nice? No, not at all. Because it doesn't fit in there. You look at it by itself, it might be good, but not within that system. That's a case of those that making a comparison between the Islamic system and all other systems. And because of their lens, they judge the Islamic systems. From their angle, they look at the Islam. And that cannot be. If you look at that way, you are going to accuse Islam. Like for example, I'll give you an example. Here in this society, looking about the finance system, where like 50-50, when they share everything's 50-50, is that right? In the household expenses, 50-50, if she's working lady, they have to contribute in the house. It has to. And something they agree upon even before getting into that marriage. And even after that, when they have separation, 50-50. And that's not in Islam. And that's because of that, when they look at, for example, the inheritance system, they look at that, they said, how come Islam is giving the man 2 shares while giving the woman just 1 share? لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ. Like, the man, he will get a double of the shares in inheritance. Why they are not equal? Why they are coming actually with this question? Because it comes from their culture, their system. And they want to apply their system on Islamic system, which doesn't fit. The foundation, they are not the same. The ideas are not the same. In Islam, for example, the man, he's the one, he's responsible for household expenses. It's not the woman. Even if she's rich and he's poor, he's still the one who has to contribute. If she's voluntarily want to do something, that's up to her. But she's not obligatory, have no obligation to do that. Am I clear? So looking at that from Islamic perspective, that knowing that man, he's the one, in charge and the one he's required to spend. So Allah is giving him an extra share in order to help him to fulfill his duties. So in other words, that's her share in his hand. It's not his share. So he's spending on her. So that actually, if you look at it, she was given 1 share, but that's for her. Nobody allowed to touch it. And he has 2 shares, and he has to spend on her. He will finish and diminish the 2 shares and even use the other resources in order to satisfy her and fulfill his duties. Is that the reality? Yes. So because of different systems, you cannot mix them. If you are mixing them as if you are putting the nose of a dog in the face of a human. Islam came with justice. And it's a beautiful religion. And we didn't need to beautify it. And despite the propaganda against Islam, still over 70% of those accepting Islam are women. We are just talking about that in the meeting. Just 70%. Why? Because they're looking to get rid of the environment that they are living in, the kind of oppression. And today we are reciting from Surah An-Nisa. And you know why it was mentioned as the name Surah An-Nisa? And inside Surah An-Nisa, Allah talking about the inheritance system. He's talking about justice, about ruling, about ahkamullah. Why is that? So, if you want to look at the indication of any justice in a society, you should look at the woman, how is treated. If you want to see any society that dealing with justice, look at the woman has been treated. I'm telling you. In Islam, that every woman being treated like a queen. And a man in her surface. And this is the darajah, the degree above. It's a degree of responsibility on him towards her. In Islam, women and men are not equal. She has more privilege in Islam than him. And we can testify that very clearly. I'm asking you, in Islam, man and woman, father and mother, who's more important in Islam? The mother, the women. Now talking about, like, husband and wife. Allah said in the Quran many ayat about that, and the Prophet even indicate about the right of women has more right than him, in many ways. And boys and girls, the Prophet when he praised the man has girls, that if he raised them nicely and Islamically, Allah will reward him Jannah. He never said that even if you have 10 boys. So I'm just saying, in Islam, gives justice. Why is that? Because this is the divine law. It's not man-made law. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, the most wise one, Al-Alim, Al-Khabir, the one He knows about us more than what we know about ourselves. So we should not question Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unfortunately, there are some Muslims are questioning the rules of Allah. And in some Muslim society, they call, for example, we need justice because they wear westernized and they want to give same share of a woman to the man, not according to Sharia. Like they were discussing that in Tunisian parliament, for example, and they applied that for many years. They are doing that in many places. In Somalia, one time, the president there, he want to apply this. There's no need to mention his name, but what he did, when scholars went against him, they stood up. He killed 40 scholars in one day because they said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot change the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just giving you an example, even how some Muslims being affected by those ideologies and their mindset. No, we should be proud of our tradition, our rules and our culture and our deen and our guide from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not just making this up. That's the rules of Allah subhanahu. And we should be proud of it and we should come forward to practice it. We have a lot of weakness. And we have to strengthen our iman and being proud that we are Muslims. We've been proud that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided us with not much effort from us. And if that could be a sign of His love, may Allah continue His love on us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that to guide us all the time. اللهم اجعلنا من أحبابك ولا تطردنا عن بابك وهب لنا صحبة أوليائك وباعد بيننا وبين أعدائك مولانا رب العالمين آمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.